Welcome, everybody. We just opened up the webinar to all the participants that were in the waiting room, so thank you for joining us today. You should be seeing the screen for our presentation on the do's and don'ts of going green. I want to start by helping you all understand who we are, both myself, my team, and who we're going to be co-presenting with today. My name is Carrie Mayo. I am the founder and creative director at Mayo Designs, and we have been in business for 20 years. 2 years ago, we made the commitment to focus on environmental sustainability. So we've gone through this process ourselves. We've learned a couple of things along the way, and today's presentation in support of the Green Business Bureau, we're going to share what those look like for you. If you are joining, we do like to make this collaborative. So you have the ability to unmute yourself. Rosemary, I just heard your beautiful baby in the background, and I went ahead and muted you. But just to get a couple things out of the way, we, again, want this to be interactive. If you have any questions along the way, please feel free to use the chat feature in Zoom. You can chat me directly. You'll also be able to chat the two co-presenters. We're being joined by the Green Business Bureau. They have an amazing online platform, Tom Permatteo and Sam Harris. Sam is going to be presenting today on a really workshop style of how you can implement things to get yourself started down this path. And if you are already going down this path, it's how you can accelerate those efforts. With that said, I want to share with you so you know how long we're going to be on today's webinar and what we're going to be discussing. We typically go about 45 minutes and leave room for questions at the end. I'll start with 8 simple principles that we want you to be able to follow around what to avoid and what to commit to. I'll turn that over to Tom and Sam, and they're going to really help you get employee engagement, show you how they create a green team, but in support of all of their members, and really aligning your company with your employees' values. That's really key in my opinion. We certainly don't want to be disruptive in the workplace. And then we're going to finalize their presentation on how to launch these company initiatives, take advantage of the marketing opportunities that you have when you differentiate yourself in this fashion. We'll finalize with recapping, helping you to understand what's next and all of our contact information. So with that said, again, please feel free to chat. I've got the chat box up at all times. And when we talk about 8 simple principles to follow, right, let's start with what to absolutely avoid. When you begin down this path, everybody's heard the term greenwashing. We don't want to make up false information. We don't want to overdo or falsely claim what we're doing. And something very specific around this is people love numbers. And it would be really great to say, for me specifically, as a marketing company, we are 100% offsetting our carbon footprint, but that's not the truth. We don't have the proper information to be able to say that with 100% certainty. So I want to really emphasize that if you don't have those specific numbers, just simply don't falsely claim it. Don't falsely put that information out there, because what you can do is make a commitment and work towards more of that 100% model. And then, like a lot of areas in our life, let's not judge ourselves in comparison to what other people are doing. This is going to come into play with how we market ourselves. We all want to differentiate ourselves. Environmental commitment is a great way to do that, but please avoid saying that this company isn't doing it and that you are. Just simply lead by example, stay on the higher road in that regard. From there, I wholeheartedly believe that the culture of an organization really comes through in almost everything that you do. So when you make this commitment internally, please don't demand a green overhaul within your culture. You know, we found that a phased approach, and this is why I absolutely love Tom's program, because they really make it a self-guided assessment and self-paced. And give people a way to really acclimate into this. You're going to find that your team is going to get excited about it and they're going to have their own ideas, but let's not force anything upon anybody. But what can you do, right? So when you're starting down the path of going green, I want everybody to really think that this is customized to each and every company individually. What works for me is not necessarily going to work for another digital agency. So learn what the industry is doing, but truly make it your own and see what alternative products, services that you can include. I am going to share the 4 things that we found to be successful when starting down this path. Again, customize, but let me give you some foundation to start that on. If your core value is driven, which most companies are, absolutely today integrate sustainability into one of those core values. From there, even if you're a small team, we're a small team of 8, and we still were able to form a green team. We basically had a meeting and said, who wants to be a part of this and what does that look like? And we allowed our own team to define what that looked like. So creating a green team, in my opinion, is no different than any other department that you have as a company. You can meet, or we meet regularly and have marketing discussions, but we meet separately and have initiative discussions around what we can do that we're not currently doing today or how we're progressing and the things that we've already committed to. Forming a green team is absolutely critical in this process. Sam is going to go into more detail of how to support that and see that you can successfully implement it, get employee buy-in, because what you want to do once you've committed as an organization that this is important to you, you've created a way to make that happen through the green team. Another key factor that we found is credibility, right? We want to lead by example. We don't want to judge others, but we also want to show that this isn't just us stating this, that we are adhering to certain criteria. And there's a lot of different platforms out there, everything from being a B Corp to what I would say is a really great platform, the GBB, the Green Business Bureau. This is why we're partnering with them so deeply, because it's perfect for mid and small size companies. And then finally, the one thing that I want you to think about, this is an opportunity for how you position your company. So integrating this going green into your marketing strategy should be the 4th pillar in how you can successfully differentiate yourself in this market. With that said, I would love to take an opportunity now, let Tom and Sam share their screen, because we're going to get right into their presentation.
Awesome. Carrie, thanks for the intro and the kind words. And again, as Carrie mentioned, as we go through this, you can chat, but if there's any questions that people have, please feel free to ask so that we can make sure we're covering things that are also important to you, the questions that you have, how you may be looking at this. So what I'd like to do, really quickly, again, I'm the president of the Green Business Bureau. And I appreciate the opportunity to speak to some of you. I've had a chance to meet 1 or 2 folks prior to this. And I'd also like to introduce Sam Harris. Sam runs our member success group. So when we have a program that when somebody becomes a new member of the Green Business Bureau, that from that immediate step, Sam and his group will take over and work with you to make sure that the things that you need to do to get started, which we think are pretty self-evident in the system, but there are certain things that we want to make sure that you get off to the right start. And then as you're a member, there's a constant touch point that we have with you about new things that are coming out, new things that maybe we're adding to the product, new marketing initiatives that we would be looking at. So again, Sam is going to talk about one of the key things to get started, which is initially, how do you form a green team? What's important about that? What I'd like to do, and Sam, if we can move to the next slide, is for those of you who may have not been on the last webinar and may not know anything about the Green Business Bureau, I want to give just a brief recap, and I'd be happy to answer other questions or do something offline for those who may be more interested in learning more. But essentially, we are a software, a sustainability sustainability management software platform. We have a very simple goal. We want to help every company become greener. So it's a simple mission: make every company greener. And we say that, and specifically say greener rather than green, because to Carrie's point, the green is a journey. It's, we're not asking you, and anybody asks you to stop what you're doing, pick up, spend a month just redefining your business and stopping what you're doing is not realistic. So the platform that we've developed allows our members to do three critical things and do it online and on their own time. The first thing is you need to do on any, and again, Carrie kind of mentioned this, you need to kind of know where you are, right? You need to individualize, you need to think about your business and not anybody else's. So the first thing that we allow you to do is we have a three pegs of the stool, so to speak, or the legs of a stool, I should say, for what we provide, is the echo assessment. And that assessment allows you as a business to validate what you've done so far. Many businesses have already done a lot of things in their business, but they don't exactly know where they fit, how far along are we, what other things we can do. So the first thing what we allow you to do is take an assessment. It's 100 or so simple questions that touch on every aspect of your business, and give you kind of that initial readout of, gee, I really have done a lot of things. I'm on this part of this, here's where I am on the continuum of where I need to be. And from there, we will then, the next step is to go into what we call the Echo Planner, which is an initiative-based framework for you then, again, online, on your own time. You can filter, you can look at how you want to implement things, but we provide you with a framework based on your business type for you to knock off different initiatives, again, at your pace that makes sense for your business. But it's a framework and a roadmap, and each one of those initiatives that you do comes with guidance, comes with contextual information about what other people have done, but also each one of those initiatives that you ultimately do allow you to make your operation more efficient. So there's one of the the great truths about sustainability is that when you actually look at it from a business perspective and you look at the initiatives you can do, every time you do something, you are actually making your business more operationally efficient. You are saving money over time. And that money that you save is continuous, right? So the example of light bulbs, everybody knows it. But when you go from using something that's archaic to something that is energy efficient, that has an impact that lasts forever for the life of your business, right? And the third leg of the stool is, how do we help you market what you do? And it's really important for that marketing to be transparent. So amongst the many tools that we provide, and one thing that's very important is a company profile and a digital seal that is dynamic, which means that when you become a Green Business Bureau member, you're actually able to put up a seal, whatever level you've attained on your website. People can click on that seal and they will get a view of every initiative that you've done. If you look at the screen, that company profile looks like what's on the large computer screen in the middle of this slide, right? So again, that's in a nutshell, kind of what we do. It's a brief overview. But what I'd like to do now is to turn it over to Sam, again, who heads our member success group. And one of the prerequisites we have for you to be successful is to have a green team. And Sam's going to now go into kind of the do's and don'ts, what makes that successful, et cetera, right? So, and again, I'm happy to answer any questions. Before we head over to Sam, if anybody has any questions I can answer, please ask. Otherwise, I'll turn it over to you, Sam.
Awesome. Thank you, Tom. So as he said, I manage the member success for Green Business Bureau, which ultimately means I get the pleasure of working with businesses of all sizes across all industries and really across the world. And not only help them onboard them properly into the GBB system, make sure, they realize all the value that is there, but also find unique ways for them for sustainability to fit with their business. And so, with working with all those different companies, one thing that I really find is that the most successful organizations, they really use a green culture, or a green team, and more specifically in part to perpetuate employee engagement. The statistic up the top there kind of holds true that, and we all know employees want to work for, environmentally friendly companies that have a clear, defined mission statement around their environmental stance. And so what does a green culture that engage employees look like? The way I see it, it's when employees can associate a greater cause or mission with their employer, and the subsequent work that they do, even if it's not directly linked. The better that they do, the better the company does, and then the further they're able to perpetuate that mission. And so some tips for creating a green culture, first and foremost, creating a green team, it really has a huge effect across the entire organization in a positive way. It's a centralized body that is responsible for looking at policies, programs, operations, and finding practical ways to implement solutions to increase the efficiency of the business, but also in connecting with the social aspect, whether it be in your community or within your own employees. It's extremely important and valuable to regularly educate your employees on sustainability and specific company goals, but not only, the general concepts, but also why is it important? Why should that employee matter? How does that benefit them? And then ultimately, some things that they can do while at work or even at home. You want to invite observations and suggestions from, employees across the organization. People have different ideas. They're working in different departments. They have different backgrounds, and having that kind of open communication can really drive some unique innovations or process improvements. Unfortunately, even today, as we know, not every single person is on board with sustainability for one reason or whatever. But taking part in local initiatives can really provide a tangible, or I guess visible, a link for some of those employees that might be a little more hesitant to jump on board, because it provides that link of, okay, so the company's been doing this and now here's the direct result. And so when they can kind of make those connections, it can really, motivate people to see the reasoning behind it, and ideally, in a broader sense, kind of adopt a more sustainable lifestyle. And, I'm going to say it multiple times throughout this presentation, but communicating results and especially celebrating your achievements. You want to keep everybody informed with how things are going, whether it just be, you're checking the box on an initiative and celebrating that, or, celebrating the achievements when you do so, or just tracking the progress along the way. That's weird.
Did we lose something? Oh no.
Well, so a couple notable facts and studies that I think were really, really eye-opening, and I think really set the stage for what we're talking about today is, businesses with the highest level of employee engagement are 22% more profitable. And organizations that have higher than average employee engagement exceed the financial performance of their competitors by 73%. And employees who feel engaged and inspired are 125% more productive throughout their workday. And those who find passion and purpose at work are 3 times as likely to stay with those organizations. And companies with highly engaged employees have 89% greater customer satisfaction and 50% higher customer loyalty. And so with, studies and statistics like this, our employees being our most valuable asset of any business, there's really no reason that this should not be a significant focus of your business going forward. And so what exactly is a green team? The way we see it, the green team is essentially a body of diverse individuals from various departments, pulling from, their various resources and backgrounds, working together to find solutions to improve the overall business and their operations, but also find ways to connect with, the employees. And this can be, we work with green teams that are literally one person all the way up to 50 people. So there is no limit or minimum to what a green team, is defined as, but, they find practical ways to implement these solutions and connect with the employees and the local community.
Hey, by the way, Sam, on that, we often find that a lot of companies that are reaching out to us because, and Sam kind of mentioned this, you've got when you're talking about hiring and retaining people, a lot of companies that are reaching out to us have hired people from the millennial kind of demographic. And they're going into companies and saying, what are we doing? I see we recycle, but do we have a plan for social responsibility or sustainability? And they're asking their executives that, and the executives are coming back and saying, you know what, you're right. So you're now running the green team, but put something together and find a way to do something. So it's almost like there's a chicken and the egg sometimes, where a lot of companies are coming to us with a green team in place, but a lot of companies are also looking for us to help them, give them information about what it is to be successful in a green team. So I think it's kind of an interesting place of where things are in the market today.
Without a doubt, yes. I'm not sure what's going on with these. Let me, there we go. So, why does the green team matter to your corporate culture? I think one of the beneficial ways is to break down barriers between different people of different positions or different departments. And it really gets them pulling from their experiences and their resources. Think about somebody from marketing and finance working together, or, whatever it may be, to come up with common solutions and ways to improve the business overall, but also the efficiency and the environmental friendliness of that company. And I think what's really important too is it establishes an informal outlet for employees across the board to relay their observations or maybe their unique ideas for improvement. You'd be surprised how many times these people, depending on what they do or whatever it is, they have ideas and you don't want to waste that potential. You want to at least give it a chance to be considered for the improvement of the company. And, it creates opportunity, the green team will create opportunities for employees to participate and facilitate the diversity and inclusion, but really they'll be the ones driving the education of, the rest of the company and getting people on board and understanding what the goals of the company's sustainability mission are and, why that's important and what it really means. And so, how does a green team affect your operations? Well, one of their tasks really is solely just to analyze all the programs and policies of the business and find ways that you can do it more efficiently or environmentally friendly. And a lot of times those are, conjoined. Efficient is more environmentally friendly, but it's also good business as well. They empowered the divisions or different departments to, embed sustainability into the core operating values across the business. And that translates to, efficiency, which means money saved as well. And, they're going to be the front line and really determining what's the most important topics or issues to your employees, whether that be local community issues or social issues, or perhaps even more broader environmental targets. They're going to be the ones who are able to align your company with the rest of your employees. And so some tips for creating a green team, first and foremost, one of the most beneficial things you can do is getting support or buy-in from your management team, especially if you can embed a manager within the team. The main reason being is that you want to ensure that, ideas and suggestions are going to be, weighed and considered. You don't want anything to be falling on deaf ears. and identify and invite the passionate employees. You know, expertise is fantastic in these types of situations, and I would argue you definitely want those people involved, but it's those passionate employees that are really going to drive the momentum, drive the success, and continue that and spread it throughout the entire company and the culture. But also, you know, while keeping the team diverse, you still want to keep it small enough to be functional. You would like to pull people from various areas, but you want it to still be an actionable team. And create an agenda early that kind of outlines the first meeting, so the topics you'll discuss, you know, different approaches, and maybe offer some suggestions on areas you want to focus on first, and get the wheels turning, get people thinking about this so you can right off the bat have a very productive meeting. That is, you know, really profound when it comes to gaining and continuing the momentum. And when you do sit down for that first meeting, you know, you want to be able to objectively look at where the company is, identify the weaknesses, and be open about it and upfront about it, because, you know, those weaknesses are ultimately the opportunities that you have for achievements and gains. And then on the flip side, also recognize the areas of strength that you have in the various resources that you have to turn those weaknesses into wins. And so, you know, the ability to prioritize initiatives and goals is really, really important. You know, Carrie and Tom both said it, you know, sustainability is not a one size fits all type of program. And so, and to be able to look at a list of initiatives, figure out what makes the most sense for your company and what makes the most sense right now is extremely important. You don't want to get bogged down on things that may be too complex to start with, or just don't make the most sense, and there's little returns or little gains after you've achieved it. You want to really find out what makes the most sense for you, and that's huge. And keep things simple and transparent. You know, you want your employees to understand what the goals are. You understand, you know, benchmark where you're starting and how far you've come. You want to, you know, make sure that the goals going forward are communicated easily, and the progress as well. You know, encouraging employee participation. There's tons of different, you can, contests or games, or, you know, you can come up with, you know, special one day a week or one day a month type of things to get people to want to be a part of it. And making frequent announcements, keeping the concept front and center in people's mind, and, you know, tracking the progress as well, but also celebrating even the small achievements is really, really important, because, you know, people are going to see, you know, your employees are going to see this group that is, you know, they're checking these boxes, they're celebrating these achievements, they're really accomplishing a lot, and people are going to want to be a part of that. Even if they weren't motivated by sustainability to begin with, they're going to want to associate with that amount of success when you're celebrating even the small things, because realistically, even if it is a small initiative, you know, it is still a step in the right direction. You're making the business better, you're making the world better. And so a couple of, you know, quick opportunities or quick wins that, you know, I would think most everybody could do, you know, either today or sometime this week. You know, encourage your employees to use reusable eating and drinking containers. Unplug it campaigns have been extremely successful in energy reduction and efficiency. Update the lighting to the most energy efficient options, but, you know, obviously you have to take into account your lighting requirements and such, but there's a huge opportunity there. Switch to reusable coffee filters, or contact a K-Cup recycling program. You know, one of our GBB members is actually a K-Cup recycler. Using eco-friendly bathroom and break room supplies and cleaning materials. Have a conversation with your janitor team, and making sure that they're on board and they understand what you guys are doing. And ultimately, you know, becoming a green certified business, having that stamp of approval that, hey, this is something, no matter where you are, if you're just starting out or if it's something you've been doing for a year or two, you know, really certifying the fact that, hey, this is something that we're taking serious, we're taking a commitment, we're really making a stand to look at these initiatives, prioritize the ones that are going to work best for us, and you know, continue on from there. And so, I genuinely would like to hear from anybody that has any questions. I encourage you to please reach out to me. My email is right there, sharris@greenbusinessbureau.com. Whether it be specific questions about your business in particular, or, unique situations that, you have in front of you, whatever it may be, I would love to hear from you. We've got tons of resources on our blog as well that can kind of provide some more background information from some of the stuff that I covered here as well. Carrie, do we have any questions or anything?
We do not have any specific questions. Some feedback just saying how they're hearing over and over again, starting the green team, it seems to be key, but nothing specific.
Okay, great.
I'm going to go ahead and take over the screen now. You should be seeing my screen. I know that the GBB platform, because I am a member of that platform, has a lot of great tools. And Tom said there was a comprehensive 100-question assessment that you would start off in. What I want people to know on today's call is it's so easy to go through. And that baseline to show you, okay, we have made traction today. We're not starting at ground zero, even though we might have thought so. So that was a morale booster for me personally, internally. And when I then committed to saying that this platform was something I wanted to move forward with, when I started my green team, his system outputs recommendations for our specific industry and industry specific, not just digital marketing. There's a lot of knowledge in this system. You don't have to create this from scratch yourself. You will be able to customize it. I want you all to know we're going to give you access to this. They're offering a free 30 days to gain access to this platform. They're super affordable as well. So please take advantage of that. I would be more than happy to walk you through a demo of my profile if you're a little bit apprehensive of signing up for the access. And I know that time and time again, Tom's team is also willing to do demos at any time. So use the form at the end to request that if that's what you're interested in. But ultimately, similar to the feedback that we got on your presentation, Sam, I wanted to make sure that people understood what I think is the most important thing in this process, which is commit to a green culture. That's the first step. I'm a business owner. It's important to me. I included it in my core values. From there, it's incremental, and we've successfully been able to go down this path and really market it. I'm a marketing company, right? And I use the material that is in this system to create our content calendar. So creating the green team is super important, because ultimately the third pillar that I want you to think about is we're just looking to gain momentum, right? The low-hanging fruit, some of the things that Sam went over, we may just take for granted, but I'll tell you, even in my office, there are times when I'm like, okay, I thought we did that already. I thought we, maybe already felt like we rolled that out. But in my experience, it's not a one and done, it's constant. And now the team is bringing ideas to the table. So gaining momentum, gaining employee engagement, focusing on culture, in my experience, is the absolute key to making this, one, have an impact, because that's why, as a business owner, I'm committing to this. And then two, creating the culture that I want to be a part of. I don't believe we have any questions. I will just check one more time. So from here, everybody on today's call has access to their 30-day free eco assessment and eco planner. I'll tell you that once you show interest in this, take a couple of hours, carve it out, go through the planner, see what you have access to. And then again, if this is something you're considering or you're not sure if you know how to implement this or what difference it might make in your marketing strategy, as a marketing company, we want to offer you a free strategy session. We're doing this for a lot of companies right now that are trying to not only reestablish some of their business models, but also use their employees. Some companies have employee time right now, And we're working with them to train them on some of the other platforms like social media or making website updates. And we want to help you figure out what that looks like for your company, leverage your employees' engagement, and create the right kind of culture at this time so that when we get back to the new business model, we can do it, successfully. So from here, Tom, I want to give you an opportunity to make any closing remarks, and then we are well ahead of time because Sam blew through his presentation.
No, I just want to thank everybody for joining us today. And again, feel free to reach out to us with any additional questions you may have. We're committed to the 30-day trial is a great way for you to understand what the value is to your business of doing something along these lines. Again, we'd be happy to kind of walk you through that and answer any questions you may have. So no, other than that, just thank you all.
Yeah, without a doubt. And sorry, Carrie, just to echo that too, in combination with that 30-day access, have a conversation with me and we can figure out, how it would make the most sense for you and your business as well.
Well, thank you again, Tom and Sam and everybody that participated today. I hope to see you on another one of our webinars. Bye for now.
Everybody.